2:37 in this great city of Pittsburgh as we have an opportunity to learn from somebody who, well, there's no other way to put it than learned the hard way. And we are delighted to have her joining us on the program to share her experiences. They may not be easy to hear about, but Catherine Bosley has addressed them in a very forthright manner and has actually written a book about her experiences. And her book is called Forever and for All to See. Catherine, it is good to have you on KDK. How are you?
Hey, thanks. Good to be here. Yeah, I'm great for a Monday, right?
It is a Monday, and here we are as we're a couple of weeks away from Christmas, and I think that lifts people's spirits just a little bit. But I want to go back for you and take you through some things that I'm sure there were times in your life when you wish you would never have to talk about them again. Is that fair to say?
Oh, absolutely. Absolutely. And I do talk about them now all the time.
Right, which is kind of interesting, right?
Experiences and you have to share.
Right. Right. So take us through let's start with getting the good news that you had sort of beaten this medical condition when you were working as a television news anchor in Youngstown and then decided that you were going to go to Florida. Let's start the story right there.
Sure. This is back in 2003. Yeah, just down the street from you guys.
Yeah.
I was an anchor in Youngstown. I was living my dream. I had worked many years before that trying to get to the point where I was in Youngstown. It was great. So, again, it's a mid-sized market, and then my husband and I, we decided we're going to go on vacation to Key West, Florida, to celebrate a couple of things. First of all, that I'm still alive, and our one-year anniversary. So that I'm still alive, it goes back to I suffered from a lung illness earlier that year that I went from running a marathon to a hospital bed, unable to breathe, speak a full sentence without a breathing treatment, to lung surgery, to where my doctors, when I asked them if I was going to live, they kind of just shook their heads and said, one day at a time, dear. So that was about 3 months of not knowing if I was going to live, kind of made the open heart surgery I had a couple of years before that to repair a surprise defect in my heart seemed not that bad. So when I finally got the news that this experimental, monstrous drug therapy was working, heck yeah, we pack our bags and head south to some badly needed healing sunshine in Key West, and it's spring break, and we're walking down that main strip, Duval Street, and if you've been there, you know it can be an exciting place, right? And, you know, the kids, they're having so much fun. The college kids, there's great music, flooding the streets, it's beautiful breeze. And I think, you know what? Life is good. And I've got the second chance at it. And I turn to my husband and I say, you know what? I'm going to live it to the fullest. I'm going to do things I would have never done before. I was always that goody two-shoes, nose to the grindstone, never strayed. And it turned out to be basically the perfect storm. I'm between my mindset that night and still being on heavy medication. Oh boy, we walk into a bar that we learn is going to have a T-shirt contest. And I hear myself say, I'll do it, when this guy starts soliciting women to take part. And boy, did I do it. It got out of hand. We felt awful about it. Thought, 2003, we just had flip phones. We could hardly take pictures on our cell phones back then. So thought we'd leave it there. And then 10 months later, I get this awful phone message. I could actually play it for you if you want, with a woman telling me that these pictures and the video of me from that night, they're everywhere. Apparently a company similar to Girls Gone Wild was there and documented it all. So
Did they want anything? I mean, were they trying to blackmail you for money at that point, or were they just making a veiled threat?
They were making money. Yeah. They were making money on me. Because they were selling it, again, it was like Girls Gone Wild. They were selling the video on their website. And someone apparently here in Youngstown subscribed to them and watched the video and said, hey, that's the girl on TV here. And so I had no idea. Again, it was about 10 months later. So pretty much all hell broke loose, lost my job. Today we call it viral. The video went viral. It was going actually global. And I was getting requests from media around the country, around the world, wanting to interview me again with that question, what were you thinking? I end up on Good Morning America, ironically, sharing my shame with the world and my idol, Diane Sawyer, and kind of explaining my mindset from that night and kind of raising a red flag about our lack of privacy in this world. I was David Letterman's top 10 list. I had Oprah calling me. It was terrible. Comments were pouring in online. I'm watching these comments that are pouring in now in regards to these two at ABC right now. And they're awful.
Right.
And I got to the point where it seemed suicide was my only escape, and it got very dark, and I had a plan. But faith, family, and friends to the rescue, and 3 federal lawsuits later, I got strong again, and I got control of my life again. I got copyright ownership to all those images, giving me legal means and to stop the dissemination, pretty much keep it off the internet as long as my lawyers are still very vigilant about it, and they are. Yeah. And I got back to work. A TV station in Cleveland hired me, and I got back to work and reclaimed my job. But as I was working my way back up there, I kept thinking, I'm reading these stories about young people taking their own lives because of cruelty online, and I'm thinking, I promised God in my darkest moment that if I could make a difference, if I could do something with this story, I would. So my contract came up, and I said, I'm going to stay here freelance, but I want to go and I want to share my story. So I'm speaking all over the place, from corporate level all the way down to high schools. Yeah. And I have that book out, Forever and for All to See. So I can certainly relate to what everyone is dealing with Amy Robach and TJ Holmes and pretty much ABC. I mean, I felt bad for my TV station that they had to deal with it too. I felt bad that they fired me, sure, but I also felt bad that they had to deal with it. So I'm watching what's going on with these two, and I'm thinking, it's taking a while for ABC to make an announcement what they're going to do, which pretty much is indicative, I would believe, of the fact that they're probably going to let them go.
Because they've pulled them off the air at this point and have not said anything as to what they're going to do just yet after finding out about their affair.
Right. Yeah. They have not said a thing. And so, again, that silence is kind of a little bit alarming. Mm-hmm. I think that those two should be quite alarmed at this point. And it kind of was alarming to me when the last we heard from Amy, she basically said, I think, to dailymail.com, well, it's really kind of over. And we're all wondering what she's alluding to. Is it the affair? Is it her marriage? Is it her career? And I think she's trying to just say, just make this all go away. It's over with.
So, Catherine, you had the means that you could hire attorneys. You could go after those copyright things, maybe more so than somebody who is a high school kid that a picture gets out that he or she doesn't want to be out. I mean, what do those people do if they don't have the same ability and the same wherewithal to know the legal system that you may have had, et cetera? What do they do?
Well, there are ways you can fix your online image today. Number one, you'd, of course, delete any of the negative stuff. That's, a no-brainer. Number two, for everything that's negative out there, you populate with positive things you want people to know about you, see about you, say about you. And that pushes that negative stuff off further into cyberspace. So it kind of cleans up your online image. Now, if it is a disaster, especially if it's on a corporate level, there are now companies, I so wish they were there when I went through what I went through, online reputation management, ORM, and I've actually partnered with one of the biggest ones in the country, netreputation.com, and they actually spend some time, they go through, they kind of alter the algorithms, they plant a bunch of stuff out there that will really clean up your image, that will completely put a different person out there. And yeah, that's expensive, but at least it's out there. There are options now, and it is survivable.
And you can get through it. Do you look back and say, I wish it had never happened? Or, and I know it seems a bizarre question, or do you look at this and say, you know what, there's a lot of good that has come out of it, despite the fact that I went through some really dark times?
All of the above.
Yeah,
but
right.
Really, it does lean more toward, okay, I'm good now, and God made this happen for a reason. I've got a strong voice. And I have a way to make a difference out there. So especially when I bring it to schools and to colleges, I really feel like I'm making a difference. So one high school I brought it to a few years ago before COVID, and I went back a couple years later, and a student came up to me and said, last time you were here, I completely changed how I behave on social media, and I thank you for that. And all it took was that one message for me to know that I'm making a difference. I'm helping people understand your online image. We used to say image is everything, but today it's really your online image is everything. And so I have lots of steps that you can take in my book, Forever and for All to See. You can find on my website, KatherineBosley.com, that will guide you through how to protect that online image. I mean, nothing is infallible, but there are things that you can do to protect yourself. There are things you can do to rise above should you fall victim, whether you brought it on yourself like I did, or inadvertently, of course, or you just happen to be a target, goes into cyberbullying as well.
Yep, it is. It does exist. Catherine with a C, Bosley, BOSLEY.com is her website. The book, again, is called Forever and for All to See. Catherine, thank you for being here.
Thank you so much for having me. Have a great day.
We appreciate it. Catherine Bosley joining us here on KDKA.